final edition, 2019, of Talkin Tech. Hometeam Brandon Leak, all-time leading passer at Georgia Tech. Also College Football Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion Joe Hamilton. Coach Sean Nerny. We're here to wrap it up. It's all done. It's in the books, part of history now. Geoff Collins, his first season, 3 wins. I think he got everything he got out of his players with his coaching. He got everything he could get out of them. And now we have the baseline, the start moving into the future after he takes over the reins after Paul Johnson.
Yeah, home team, I think you nailed it when you said the baseline. And what I love about this season is that Coach Collins didn't waver. His first presser, he said it wasn't about who they were playing. It wasn't about wins and losses. It was all about fundamental development, building a culture, getting the fan base back, legends of the flat, so to speak, excitement. And he did that. He didn't worry too much about the scoreboard. Every single week he said the guys are getting better, they're buying in. And I really, at this point in time, want to give a big shout out to the seniors, because he couldn't do or gain the momentum he's gained without the seniors buying in, whether they were playing, whether they were just being role models off the field, or just scout team looks or developmental program looks. But you should give a big, big shout out to the seniors that helped him build a culture.
Yeah, they could set or mess up the tone.
Yeah, no, and I think that the number 1 job for Geoff Collins and his staff coming in this year was to really get the energy behind the program again. I think coming off of the last 10 years or so, coming into this season, not a whole lot of excitement, last year with Georgia Tech, and then now you see Geoff Collins and what he's done, getting the spark up, social media, bringing the players back, like you said, Joe. And I give him credit for getting his players to play at the highest level that they could play at week in and week out. This was a tough season, not just for the coaching staff,
sir,
for the players as well. I mean, getting these guys to come out and be motivated when you were having the struggles that you have offensively, and I think number 1, props to Geoff Collins and staff for getting his players excited to come out and play week in and week out.
Yeah, I think the energy didn't waver. You had some good moments, you had some bad moments, but you now know what is expected. Now, moving into the future, it comes down to what it comes down to with everybody, recruiting. And that's one of the positive things you can already go into the offseason with the arrow pointing up. Georgia Tech predicted to have, a top 25 recruiting class. That already, year 2, is something positive that Geoff Collins can put under his hat.
Absolutely, home team. And when you fast forward it to just September without the recruiting class that you just talked about, we got studs that's on this roster now getting reps and getting familiar with the scheme. More importantly, 2 defensive guys, when you're saying Antonius Clayton, Power 5, SEC guy that's been in the system working out.
I wish I could work out like he could. I wish I could bench press when he could.
And he's excited. I saw him posting on social media when you talk about Marquez Ezzard, right? So he's been in the system. We got Derek Allen that you hadn't seen from Notre Dame, that transfer. So those things you can already be bigger, faster, stronger coming off the bus to build on. Another thing that I really enjoyed, Nerny, is this. You were able to quickly, in my opinion, get away from the triple option or the spread option. You didn't have to let that linger too long. We understood why you had some resemblance of it early on. Clemson game, just to try to survive and what those guys knew or could retain. But now in the latter parts of the season, you saw what he's trying to run, and that's going to get those recruits can envision themselves in specific areas, quarterback, wide receivers, DBs, schemes that way.
Yeah, I mean, for those that follow college football but aren't diehard Tech fans, they just look at the scoreboard, the box score. Maybe you couldn't tell a week-to-week progression with the offense. But, like you said, Joe, the beginning of this year, it was a lot of option football, a lot of speed options, and you're kind of thinking, okay, well, I thought we were going to come out here and throw the football. Right. But really, week to week, and from day 1, Geoff Collins has said this isn't about wins or losses this year. It's about progressing, getting better week in and week out. If you look at the tape from week 1 against Clemson and what we ran offensively to last week and what we ran offensively, it's really night and day. And you saw that offensive playbook get bigger and bigger week in and week out.
Expectations for next year. Which side of the ball are we looking to see the bigger improvement? What are we looking for the program to become? What I'm looking for is for Georgia Tech to be in every game. You had some games where you weren't in the game or you couldn't be in the game. I'm looking for Georgia Tech to be in every game next year and moving on forward from that. And then maybe special teams, when you get those turnovers, if you get an onside kick, making sure that you get 3 points, making sure that you're able to take advantage of the opportunities you create for yourself.
I am looking for tangible results. Not just getting better every week, not just saying that we're a developmental program and we'll take it. Some tangible, meaning setting goals. What are the goals? Do you want to win the Coastal? Do you want to go to a bowl game? And that's putting the cart before the horse before the cart. It's saying 9 wins, but bowl game can be a legitimate, real goal. Wins in the conference. Georgia Bulldogs maybe closing the gap. But these guys got to set goals now, because I don't think we can stay in here next year and saying that we don't expect improvements, massive improvements from this year record-wise.
Yeah, I mean, for me, listen, you don't want to lose a game like you did to the Citadel this year. That obviously going into next year, that kind of thing can't happen. But it's going to take some time. Until the line of scrimmage on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball get bigger and beefier. I know defensively you got Clayton coming up, and he will help from day one when he's eligible to get out there on the football field, just because he is one of the big bodies. And, I mean,
right.
He'll stand out on that defensive front for Georgia Tech. So for next year, maybe an extra win or two. I'm not looking for them to go out and, win 8-9 games next year. Small baby steps. The one thing I really am looking forward to is the competition during the offseason at quarterback.
Okay.
And if I had one gripe to throw at Geoff Collins for this past season, I think he misused the 4-game rule, the 4-game redshirt rule with the true freshman Jordan Yates. I think that, and I don't think Geoff Collins would ever admit it, but I think he would have liked to have found spots to get Jordan Yates a little bit more more reps in the game. Because to me, listen, James Graham, for what he was asked to do this year, I think he did an excellent job. He didn't do anything this year that makes me think going into week 1 next year, he is the bona fide starter at quarterback. So to see what happens in the offseason with that competition and who rolls out at the head of that offense, that's one of the things I'll be looking for next year.
You're right on it, Nerny. You're right on it. I totally agree with you with that one. Not saying James Graham is not going to be the starter next year, but it's not just hand him the ball. He's going to have to earn it, and you could have gotten Jordan Yates some meaningful game evaluation. No, you didn't get taken advantage of that. Totally agree.
All right, that'll do it for this year, and that'll do it for this run of Talkin Tech. We look forward to the off-season additions. We look forward to good news and good energy, and hopefully Tech fans will be as excited as we all have been about Geoff Collins after 1 year. I'm Home Team. He's the College Football Hall of Famer, the greatest quarterback in the history of Georgia Tech, Joe Hamilton. That's Coach Nerny. We'll see you next time, Talkin Tech.